All right, Sports Doctor, it's time for us to see about our question of the week. Now, we asked you, the viewers out there, via social media, on Twitter and on Facebook, who you thought was the most dominant athlete in southeastern Connecticut history that you have saw, boy or girl, any era. And I have to tell you, thank you very much. The Sports Doctor and I are thrilled. The responses.
Hey, we were crazy. You're off the hook. So many different names, so many different regions in southeastern Connecticut. And you know what, Casey? A lot of New London people. What you like?
There was a lot of New London people. The epicenter of sports in southeastern Connecticut, some said in the comments section. But we're going to talk about some of those people that you named. One of the first names that came up for me was TJ Mackerel. He was the legend and NFA wrestler. Think about this now. 4 state championships, 3 New England championships, a national championship, 1 loss in 4 years. So if you're going to talk about individually dominating a sport, you got to talk about TJ.
Yeah, I mean, tremendous athlete, and the credentials speak for himself. 1 loss in 4 years at Ledyard, Casey.
Also, another person to talk about, Sports Doctor, Tracy List. When I was in high school, she was at Killingly High School, and she was the first girl I ever saw who just absolutely lit it up. The original scoring machine ahead of her time, Tracy List.
At 45 points as a freshman per game for Tracy List. Casey, a couple other guys that I mentioned, legendary Doug DeBose, Montville football, Mr. All-World. Eventually went on to play football in Nebraska. Heisman Trophy hopeful until he got injured after his junior year. Norm Tanucci of Waterford, baseball, and Johnny Ellis as well for baseball. So some good hitting athletes there.
And if we're going to talk about individual dominance, we got to talk about some of the people we've already mentioned, the Tyson Wheelers, the Chris Dunns, or a Matt Harvey at Fitch, a Dave Menhart, or his brother Paul Menhart, for that matter, at Fitch, or, of course, the great Harold Presley.
Yeah, 85 national championship with the Villanova Wildcats. Harold Presley doing work at St. Bernard's High School.
Now, what's interesting is how people defined their dominance. Do you choose someone who dominated an individual sport like that? Do you choose somebody that went on to national dominance? Someone like Amby Burfoot or John Kelly, who actually won professional marathons?
Yeah, I mean, very good question, Casey. A couple of them. Bethany McMahon, Waterford High School, 2-time Olympic luge athlete. Liz Mueller, everybody's fan favorite from Waterford High School, national champion in cross country.
Or Jan Merrill Morin of Waterford. She was the 79 and 76 Olympian and a 2-time Pan American gold medal winner. That's crazy.
That's a lot of hardware.
That is impressive. But you know what? Some people said no. It's not just about dominance in one sport. An athlete means you play multiple sports. So going into the world of multiple sports, how about local celebrity and one of my personal heroes, Lee Elsey. Lee Elsey was a dominant baseball player, but also played football and wrestled at Waterford High School, as good as they got.
Yeah, the legend is what they would call him, and still probably the most feared hitter in Connecticut folklore as well. Jeremy Turney, baseball and football from Montville High School, Case.
Or someone like Chanel Green Johnson at New London High School was an 1,000-point scorer in basketball, all ECC in softball, all state in soccer, went on to play Division I and professional soccer.
And how do you not talk about multi-sport kids without talking about Troy McKelvin, New London High School, 6-time state champion in baseball, football, and in basketball as well. Troy McKelvin went on to play ball at Trinity College and is giving back to the community right now.
Now, some of you went out and gave some specific examples. You know, Mike Shapiro, and thank you, Mike, you said Johnny Green in the 80s was an all-state baseball, wrestler, and football player at New London High School. That's all-state in 3 sports. That is impossible to beat unless you go back in time.
Long time ago, before my days.
Before my days as well, but you know what? Sports did occur back, as my father tells me, before I was born. And Jim Spellman says, I will quote, "I will show you my age. Dudley Wheeler, the last single-school 4-year letterman in football, baseball, basketball, and track, when the CIAC still allowed 2 sports in a season at Stonington High School in 1958 to 1961. Now, Sports Doctor, listen to this legendary story. Jim Spellman saw Dudley score a run in baseball, run over to the track to the javelin pit, throw the javelin, win the event, and then run back to the baseball field. At home that night, he tended to the crops because he was an old-fashioned farm boy, then woke up at 4 o'clock the next morning to milk the cows and head back to Stonington High School to play another one of his sports.
Did he turn the butter as well?
I think he did a little bit of everything, a little churning the butter there, but Jimmy Spellman remembers Dudley Wheeler. But my choice is an easy one. and I'm ready for all the flack. So if you don't like the choice, folks, send those rants in. I am ready to chew on those because for me, I agree with Peter Abraham of the Boston Globe. Peter Abraham said that the best athlete he saw in high school was Jamal Johnson. And I was classmates with Jamal, and nobody did what Jamal did. He was the best football player on the field, and he never came off the field. Peter said that he once saw a game where Jamal receiving touchdown, rushing touchdown, threw a touchdown, returned an interception for a touchdown, and then kicked all the extra points afterwards. Jamal then went right from the football field onto the basketball court, where he started at guard for perhaps the greatest basketball team in New London High School history, an undefeated and number one ranked 89 New London High School basketball team. Then he went onto the baseball diamond, where he started in the outfield for one of the great New London High School state championship baseball teams in 1987 and was going to be drafted by the Chicago Cubs. I think if they had a ping pong team at New London High School, Jamal would have been the best in that. Jamal Johnson, best athlete I have ever seen.
Well, there's a lot of New London love in this room tonight, Casey. But I'm going to shift gears and go up north a little bit. I'm going to go to the Norwich Free Academy. And for me, a high school football player, helped resurrect the NFA football program along with Steve Robichaud. Major Williams, quarterback, defensive back, Mr. Do Everything. He started as a freshman, and he was one of those kids that had the it factor on the field, making people miss playing quarterback. I can remember a game up in against Hamden in a state tournament game in a semifinal where he was playing defensive back, and he stuck Horace Dodd from Hamden, who was going to Penn State at the time, in the hole. NFA went on to win that game and going to play Southeastern for a state championship. But Major Williams, he also played basketball as well. But to me, watching a high school kid play with pure love, pure joy, pure passion, and he's giving back now, he's coaching a little bit, but he was one of those kids where on a Saturday morning, that's when they played high school games on a Saturday morning, he had the it factor. I couldn't wait to get to the NFA field to see Major Williams. MJ Sullivan has a great lease deal on a 2016 Hyundai Sonata SE. No money down and only $259 a month for 36 months. Or get a lease deal on a 2017 Hyundai Elantra SE with only $2,000 down and only $175 a month for 36 months. Stop in for more details. You can see these and other summer deals always at mjsullivanauto.com.